what I like to do is remind you guys that when in doubt, zoom out. I'm looking at the live chart right now, or the live chat, and there are so many people getting super, super bearish. Yet, when you zoom out, you'll see that we just been going sideways since March. Yeah, we dipped down to 52.3 or 53,000, but we're not at 53,000 right now. We're not forming another trend downwards. We're at 65,000. So why is there so much bearishness or bearish tone out there? It doesn't quite make a lot of sense. Okay, and that's because we have so many good things about Bitcoin. However, before I get to that, we do have some concerning data that came out this morning. If you look at the US market right now, it's absolutely horrible. Okay, another minus 500 for Dow. We have minus 400 for NASDAQ. The market bell just rung 2 minutes ago. Okay, a lot of recession worry. I covered this last night. Recession. And we got more data today that indicates that we may be heading there. There's two pieces of data this morning. But you look at like someone like Amazon who missed their quarterly report. Didn't miss. Well, I mean, missed, meaning that their numbers are horrible. They're down almost 10% today. Okay, and we're talking about someone like Amazon. Nvidia is still going down, almost below 100. And this is crazy if you think about they were just at what, 135, and they're now down to 100. That's like a 30% drop within weeks, right? But here's the thing. That's not what's scary about today. What's scary about today is the jobs report. A lot of people are looking at this. Hey, look at Bitcoin is going up, right? See, again, this is why. All of you guys that are worried about Bitcoin, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyways, going back to the jobs report in the U.S., 114,000 in July. It was anticipated or estimated we were going to add 185,000 jobs in July. We went from 185,000 down to 114,000 in terms of the actual jobs. That's horrible. If you do the math, what is that? It's like a 40% drop versus the estimate. And not only that, the unemployment rate ticks up to 4.3%. This is what Powell wanted all along. He warned people that unemployment may rise up above 4%, 4.2, 4.3, and now we're here. This is horrible. Horrible. So the notion of recession in the U.S., well, it's all the data is pointing to it. So the good thing is Powell has to cut rates sooner than expected, and we may get more. We know that for sure there will be one in September. He already revised the original estimate of 3 rate cuts to 1, but now with the horrible, horrible data, in September, not only will he cut, he may cut drastically, not 25 basis points, maybe 50 basis points. And maybe he'll announce that there needs to be another cut later this year, like in November or December. Because the way we're growing right now, it's really bad, really bad. Yesterday, we had that unemployment number. It came in hotter than expected, overestimates, and now we have a very underestimate jobs number, right? So not looking good. Not looking good at all. We definitely don't want to. We're finally past all the COVID nonsense, recovering from that. And supposedly we finally got inflation under control, down to almost 2%. But this is the consequence. Now the U.S. economy is really struggling to get off the ground once again. So Big Daddy Powell has to come in and try to save the day and cut rates, right? And bring the liquidity back. And hopefully that will do it. Because if that doesn't do it, that's going to be bad. Because if that doesn't do it, then the money printers and the stimulus checks and all that may be coming again. Hopefully not. Hopefully that's a one-time thing. But it's not just the U.S. If you look at Europe, excuse me, If you look at Europe, I mean, across the board, all red. Okay. So it's not just a US thing. You look at Japan also. Japan plunged by 6%, the largest drop since the start of the pandemic. They actually had to raise rates recently because their currency is going to zero. You know, they had this negative interest like policy, and it's been hurting their yen like none other. It's fallen more than 50% versus the USD, and their economy is sucking right now too, right? Like they're down 16% in 17 days, and it's probably more than that now. Okay, so Japan is struggling like crazy. Europe is starting to suffer. The US is suffering. This is what happens when you keep rates at an elevated level for so long, trying to bring down inflation. But we all know that doesn't do anything because inflation was caused by the overprinting and the overstimulus. That's the problem. When you increase the money supply from this to this within 2-3 years, it's hard to control inflation. So all the central banks, they only have one ammunition, really. It's just like to raise rates or cut rates. Really, that's it. So the only thing they could do is raise rates and keep it elevated for so long. And now they have really hurt economies around the world, right? So that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of fear about recession worldwide. Global markets are selling off, especially tech. Those Wall Street guys, what are they doing? They're dumping their risk on assets. That's what they do before the start of any recession or there's fears of recession. What does Wall Street do? They sell off risk on assets like big tech, AI now, and crypto, right? That's what we've been seeing. But you know what? When it comes to what these guys don't realize is when it comes to Bitcoin, you can't treat Bitcoin like a risk-on asset because it's not. It's the best asset. It's the ultimate asset, the ultimate hedge against inflation. So if you don't like what the governments are doing about inflation, right? You don't like all this shenanigans with economic policy, then you want to turn to Bitcoin because it's the only one where you can't apply. No one controls it. There's no economic policy to apply, right? It is set by code, governed by the miners, and it's pure. You don't have to worry about things, right? That's why Wall Street and retail lettuce hands that are selling right now quite simply does not understand. If you did, you would be loading up as much Bitcoin as you can,